Yeah, people just see the headline like, "Oh, what's this richest person in the world complaining about 50 billion less? That's nothing." He's already got
Yeah.
100 billion or 200 billion, but he's not buying yachts or islands like all the other multi-billionaires out there. They're buying islands, they're doing things for their personal consumption and whatever. Elon's, he's working 100 plus hours a week, still trying to better chances for civilization and humanity to survive. That's his goal, is not to like better himself and get richer. He's trying to just do what he thinks is the best he can do with these resources. Forget, if you put these resources in some like trust or something that he controls, he'd probably be fine with that if it's not in his name. He just wants to control the direction of where the resources are going, and ultimately wants to build backup civilization on Mars in case something eventually will happen to Earth. And that's a great goal to have, and Tesla is a means to get there. And he saw it as a major cash cow potentially to help fund that entire backup civilization he's going to set up, self-sustaining city on Mars eventually. So that's his ultimate goal, and I don't think people understand that. No one understands that. I talk to like certain family members that don't study Tesla, and it's like it's just their eyes gloss over when I try to start talking about that stuff. They think I'm like some crazy conspiracy theorist or something. So it's like hard to communicate that. I think people who've read science fiction or whatnot have probably understand this, but a lot of people, 90% of the population, can't comprehend it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just want to put a super fine point on that exact sentiment, Emmett, that, there's a difference between people who can get things done and people who can't get things done. And one of the things that the media does is they paint people who can get things done as the bad guys and say, what we need is more people in government to have more control over things so that those bad people can't do those bad things. But those people in government can't get anything done. Look at our border. It's a disaster. Like, this is what happens when you give incompetent people who don't know how to get things done responsibility for important things. And so one of the reasons why I want Elon to have the largest net worth possible is because I know, based on his track record of watching him over literally decades, like, everyone who made it big in the like .com bubble radically changed their lives. And the vast majority of all those entrepreneurs decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to kick up my feet. I'm going to take it easy from here on out. I'm going to be an angel investor, or I'm going to be a board member, or whatever. Like, I am not going to pour out hours and hours and hours and years and years of blood, sweat, and tears on the next most hard thing that I can possibly accomplish at this point in time. And that's what we see from Elon, is he goes all in every single time. He doesn't, like, every single hand is double down. Every single hand. Not ever has he taken his foot off the gas and not doubled down with everything he has. And so we know that this $55 billion that they're trying to take away from him, that is $55 billion less of the most efficient and most effective capital that could possibly be put to use on the world's and humanity's biggest problems. I don't want that money to be in the hands of someone else who's not going to use it nearly as effectively to solve problems that are going to have massive impact on hundreds of years worth of people, and however many thousands or billions or however, whatever that number of people looks like over the course of the next century to 2 centuries.
Dude, what you just said, sorry to call you, it literally just gave me chills, because you're talking about the most utilized or efficient capital that you could put somewhere. Like, Elon's your guy. There's nobody else that you would give your money to. I mean, just look at look at NASA putting together Artemis, how much they spent, what, like $90+ billion on one rocket.
Ridiculous.
Like, sure, everything needs to be perfect. That's their mission. Like, they will not launch unless they're 100% guaranteed that this is going to be successful. But look at how much money you have to throw at it, and look how far behind you'll get, right? And you look at SpaceX. I think they had like 10 launches in a matter of like a really short period of time. Like, this company is setting up satellites. It's helping people get internet that never would have had it in the most remote areas. Now I know I can go to Joshua Tree or some of these other really remote locations, and T-Mobile is going to be able to hook up to Starlink, and there's not going to be a place on Earth that is not going to be able to be linked up. I mean, that's what just gave me chills from what you said. Is like, that is money that you're going to want to go and put somewhere else. I mean, look at what he did with X. In a matter of like 8 months, he literally took a sinking ship and made it something that is amazing today, you know, and it's going to be great even in the future based on the small hardcore team that he's built. But when he laser focuses on something, you're going to get amazing results. I mean, he always talks a little bit about his batting average, right? He's got an amazing batting average. He's maybe delayed on when he actually gets the hit, but he always delivers on the big hit.
Yeah, once you start to think about, like you say, his batting average and stuff like that, you really start to realize, like, listen to the man. Like, every time he's been doubted, he's proven to be right. And all of these companies are evidence of that. Like, everything was impossible. Nothing that could have ever been done. Like, I remember a scientist talking about landing a rocket as akin to throwing a pencil off of a building and having it land on the eraser edge every time. And it was like, you can't do that. You can't land rockets on Earth on a, you know what I mean? It was just like impossible, but they ended up doing it, and everything was impossible. Tesla was impossible. You know what I mean? Like, all these things are like super impossible, but yet he does them. And you cannot put that money, like what you guys were saying, in the hands of the government. I mean, look at the deficit. They're not good with money. You know what I mean? Like, they are just not financially responsible people. They have a credit card that they are just running up. So yeah, you do not want them in charge of any of that money. So yeah, it's just, the whole thing is baffling, but it all comes down to Elon and the fact that he's been more right than he's been wrong. And I think you're looking at an instance where they realized that they didn't believe him in 2018 when the comp plan came up. And in the fallout from that was he became who he is today. And I think now they're realizing that, hell, if he could do that, then maybe this next comp plan will probably heal even more than double that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're realizing, like, nothing's really impossible when it comes to Elon, and they just don't want to cash him out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the new comp plan milestones. You know, it feels like, to me, it's like when I see those milestones, I'll be like, oh, it's done, just a matter of time. You know, so I'm excited to see, you know, what those milestones will be.
I want to see 1 billion robots. I get paid when there's 1 billion robots.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, there's got to be one where, you know, some crazy comp that he'll receive when it becomes the world's largest company, potentially bigger than Aramco and Apple combined. If, again, I don't know what that would look like. And also, too, you know, one thing, you know, not to be like a downer here, but, like, you know, he's only got, you know, he's what, 53, 54. How much more time is he going to want to, you know, be really focused on Tesla versus potentially other things? I don't think his time has clearly finished up at Tesla anytime soon. But I just hope that they can get this together, figure out what they need to do with this 2018 thing, get that figured out as soon as possible. If they can overturn that or appeal it, or, you know, put it on the shareholder meeting again for 2025 even at this point. But Hans, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say that I think that, you know, the Optimus Robot Project and FSD combined are a huge piece of what he needs to accomplish next in order to make a civilization on Mars possible. That a civilization on Mars becomes self-sustaining much quicker if you have access to a labor force of AI-powered robots. And so that's a piece that he has to get figured out. And we absolutely will figure out how to give him that 25% control that he needs so that he can continue. Like, remember, actions speak louder than words. Everything that we see from the company shows me that Elon is pedal to the metal, moving forward as quickly as possible on both FSD, their AI plans, and Optimus Robot. And so he is like, he's not saying that I don't think that we're going to be able to solve the 25% problem, because he's still moving forward aggressively with AI and with robotics inside of Tesla. So we'll get that solved. And yeah, whatever that looks like is whatever it looks like. You know, this is a very innovative company. If we can create the products that we have created over the past, if Elon can land rockets, then he can figure out how to solve this pay issue with the help of a board who is absolutely supportive of him, shareholders who are absolutely supportive of him. And all of that will be a done deal. So I think that we'll see Tesla continuing to be a major part of his focus moving forward for at least the next 7 years. It'll be into the 2030s before those two projects are in a place where I don't think that they will require large amounts of focus from Elon. And accomplishing those two things will be incredibly productive and valuable to any shareholders of Tesla, the company, over that period of time.
Yeah, and I was going to make one last comment. I think you said something that sparked it, was like, or even from our comments, like people are going to bring a board together that is going to be very supportive of what they have on mission, or they're going to be bringing people onto their board where they can get, sure value from them, or there's going to be some wins from partnerships, or, companies that can help, they can partner with, or knowledge expertise that they're bringing in to help. You're not going to bring a board in where, someone's just going to be constantly raising their hand and, challenging, and not only challenging, but just being disruptive and causing a lot of friction. You're going to bring a board on that is going to be very supportive of what the CEO is doing and where they're headed. The last thing you're going to want to do is bring someone that is just going to bring a headache. But of course, you want people that you're close with, that are going to challenge you, at your best and at your worst, but also lift you up and push you to that. And I think that has been what this board has been. If you just look at who's been on it, who's been on the rotation, they've had some amazing leaders come on board and rotate in and out. And now, even having JB come back, one of the OG guys, OG founders, coming back and helping out, it's just it's important. So that's the thing there, is that, when you say that the 2018 comp plan, when people say the 2018 comp plan was, should be rescinded because it was Elon owned the board, and yet, like, of course you're going to want that. Like, why would I not want that? Especially when you think of what Elon has done. So